Avengers Infinity War to come out?
Are
you not into that stuff?
I watched the one, what's the one, I get confused with, what's the one with Superman and Batman? I watched when Wonder Woman, all those guys got together.
You cannot mix Marvel and DC Comics,
right,
my friend.
Right. Well.
We need to have a chat.
Everybody is looking at me with wide-eyed anger.
A chat. Okay, this is a conversation for another time because we need to chat about the Goldie. I have to forgive you because the shoe is so darn cute and comfortable, and it's brand new today. And we do have the medium and wide widths, which makes me so happy because I always border on a wide. If a wide is available, that's usually what I end up going for because my feet need to be happy, especially in the front. We have this particular shoe in the mediums and wides, and we have 3 colors. I love this. Look at the gold. And then look at it next to the silver. Look at the way they've both been done. First of all, the gold has got a little bit of almost like that washed kind of look to it that's really, really neat, almost kind of satiny.
Yeah.
And then the silver almost looks like it has a champagne wash over the top, so it's warm and cool at the same time. Like, these are just the coolest shoes.
There's a very, very soft gold that we've made that with as well. I mean, it's almost bordering on that rose gold from a colour perspective. I
agree. I love it. And by the way, your hardware is the yellow gold on the gold, and then it's more of that polished gunmetal on the silver. And then you have the black, which also looks like it's done in the polished silver.
Yep.
Yeah.
So,
and the black is just black. But you know what's so cool about it? It's black, but you have that sort of nude suede colored insole, but it's black underneath too.
That's right.
It's cool.
It's a really nice contrast, and again, if we had the black midsole there, it would look actually quite heavy to look at, so it would look quite heavy on the foot. So a lot of nice little elements on this as well. I might just use the pewter to sort of show you there. So we do have the adjustability at 2 places. So we have, it's actually hook and loop. So I'm really glad we did put the buckle detail, but hook and loop over the top, hook and loop on the bottom, so you can really customise the fit in those really important places. That centre strap, that is fixed, but we have just got a ton of gore sitting in there. So it's going to really beautifully cradle your foot in there. And actually a question I had for you, Sharon, because you're generally a wide width in Bionic, correct?
Yes, I am.
And are you, you're wearing that. Do you feel any constricting on that centre strap? Because
no, I actually
know that
don't.
may be a concern for some people, the fact that that's not adjustable, but what it's going to really do with all of that gore is it's going to beautifully hold the top of the foot in really, really nicely. So don't be afraid that's not adjustable.
Here's what's great about it is that my foot is barely contained here because I do border on that wide width, but I do not feel I would have needed to size up to the wide because I have room on the base for my foot. But here's what I love too. Do you see the center panel that's happening? This is free floating. You can move this. So if you have to adjust this tighter or this tighter, you might need to move it over here or over onto the other side to make it straight for you. There's some other shoes that are out there that it's always affixed and then somehow it ends up crooked on your foot when you tighten up your straps. And here it's always straight.
That's a nicety that our design team really put in because we want to make sure it's always looking nice on the foot. If you've got something that's adjustable, a centre strap should always be floating. Otherwise, it'll look skew if. It won't have a really nice aesthetic appeal to it.
And because you've got that back strap, you can wear this to the amusement park. You don't have to take your shoes off if you're going to do the swings or some of those crazy rides because it is perfectly secure on your foot. And also, it just feels so terrific because of how it hugs from every angle. Yeah. So I just want to remind you of a couple of things. Medium widths, wide widths, hold sizes only. 5 to 11 in mediums, 6 to 11 in wides. So if you're a half size, what do you do?
Go down to the nearest whole size.
Perfect. We are going to say hello to Susan, who I know has been extraordinarily patient on the phone lines. Susan, my name is Sharon. Thank you so much for calling, but this is Liam. How are you?
G'day, Susan.
I am doing great, and I hope you guys are too. You look like you are anyway.
We're always having fun in here. Sometimes too much fun, Susan.
That's right. So, Susan, what do you think about the Vionic brand?
I will not have any other shoe unless it is a Vionic brand.
And why?
I have foot problems, and the demonstration that you show with the lines on the people's feet, I took off my shoes and looked down at my feet, and my one ankle does flop over to the side.
Right.
Sure.
And I kept wondering why my feet hurt so bad every time I'd go shopping for a day or just try to just do regular housework and stay in a shoe all day. I was miserable by the end of the day. So I tried one of the Vionic walking shoes, and I ended up with 4 pair of those because the minute you put your foot in that shoe, you can tell a difference.
Yeah.
It affects your entire body. my leg straightened up, my ankle straightened up, my foot felt comfortable. And so I do have now, I wear a size 12, and thank goodness the shoe you just showed before came out in size 12, so I'm going to be ordering some of those. But I do have some open-toed sandals that you had in the size 12. And I thought, I wonder if my foot is going to slip around and come out of that shoe. And I have worn it outside and in the house all day just to be sure. And it is the most comfortable shoe I have had on. My foot does not slide. It is supported. And I'm just calling to let anybody know that if you're thinking about ordering these shoes and you're wondering if the demonstration is correct, it is.
Yeah.
Because the minute that you put on this shoe, you're going to feel your arch go up, your leg's going to be straight, your knee is going to be straight, your back's not going to hurt.
Right.
Because there is just such wonderful support and flexibility in these shoes, and they're such a high quality that, like I said before, I just donated all my other shoes to Goodwill, and I will not buy another pair of shoes unless it is a Vionic brand, because I think more of my body than that, you know.
Well, you know what, Susan, I have to tell you, you know, being someone who is an employee here at QVC, I sometimes get to see some of the shoes they're coming out with just before we launch them for the season, and I know that this team is working so feverishly hard to continue to revitalize these styles. More new things coming in for summer and for fall, and then further on into the winter. So you will have plenty of designs to choose from going into the rest of the year's wardrobe.
And
yes, I had called him once before, and he did say that they were working on getting some size 12s available for people.
we are looking to expand that.
I'm 73 years old, but I'll tell you, I would wear any of the styles that you have because I think they are so versatile for all ages.
Oh, Susan.
No, totally agree.
You are so sweet. I want to thank you for calling and sharing your amazing story with us, and enjoy your new shoes you picked up in the show.
I certainly will, and again, if there's anybody out there that's thinking about trying these shoes, please do, because if they don't work for you, you can always send them back. There's no problem there. But believe me, once you get them on your foot, you're not going to send it back. You're going to keep it, and you're going to order more.
Well, Susan, you have a marvelous day. Thank you so much for the feedback.
Oh, thank you for the shoes. I really appreciate it.
Our
you guys
pleasure.
have a great day.
Thanks so much, Susan. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
You know what? The fact that Susan really had problems virtually her entire life, stepped into the shoe, knew it made such a huge difference for her. Now, she felt comfortable the instant she went into these shoes, but something that we do like to say is that since your muscles are used to being used in the wrong way, some people have a slight adjustment period those muscles and tendons all of a sudden start to realign. But I personally felt like Susan, when I first stepped into the shoes, I knew immediately, I kind of giggled and I went, this feels so different. I mean, you know that there's something special about them.
That's right. And I was actually the opposite. I needed a bit of a break in time way back when I started wearing the brand. So, so we like to recommend it. You may not need it, but we do like to recommend that just in case. And there was a point that Susan made. We're going to go.
And 1,000 have been ordered, by the way.
There was a point that Susan made there about the size 12. So we are really looking to expand how many styles we're bringing out in 12. So at the moment, it isn't everything. And I really appreciate the feedback everybody gives me. And always reach out to me on Facebook if you've got any thoughts or comments to make there. But we are really looking to expand our ranges that we're putting the size 12 items on.
Nice.
But we'll have a look at the foot from the side, and we'll have a look. We've spoken about the issues with pronation and how that affects going up the foot, but we'll have a look at how it looks going down the foot as well. So with Amy here, again in this unsupported position, what we're going to have a look at is this big toe area, because it's very important. This joint here is unrestricted when you go through the walking motion. So in this unsupported position, you can see this big toe joint here is actually really quite rigid and stiff. So there's still some movement there, but it's actually quite rigid and it's quite restricted. When I wrist realign Amy's foot, and there you can see now how that's really loosened up. And that's very important when you go through that walking motion. It's not going to stop you from walking. It just means that biomechanically speaking, you're doing it in a more efficient manner. Again, if I just sort of unsupported, you can see it's really restricted. So what's the difference? I'm just going to put Amy into the footbed. So this is the same unit that the Goldie is made on. So first of all, you really notice how that arch is really hugging the curves of Amy's foot, really giving her that support. But then look what it's doing to that big fella on the end there. It's nicely loosened up there. So now that foot's a lot more it's unrestricted.
You know what? I would imagine it would probably help your balance to have full mobility in your big toe like that. So if it was restricted, You know, there's only so much you can do, but if you have full mobility, you can just be in charge of your own body a little bit more.
Exactly right, yeah, and it's really sort of making sure, and it's a really sort of important comfort feature, because oftentimes when you're taking a lot of steps, if that joint is restricted, that's the part of the foot you really want to dig into.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So here's a reminder, 1 day only value, which means the price will not be lower for at least 6 months. And in 6 months, you're going to be looking at winter boots. You're not going to be looking to pick up a pair of shoes like this. So take advantage of the lowest price we will have for half of a year, and then wear it May, June, July, August, September. And then, of course, depending on where you live, into October and November, depending on what your weather is like. Well, we've got black, we have our fabulous silver, and then we have this gorgeous gold. Your price is going up at the end of the day, as are your easy pays going away at the end of the day as well. Free shipping. And you know what? With our last phone caller, she was talking about how all her aches and pains went away. Medically speaking, that is not necessarily going to be the case for you, depending on where your aches and pains are coming from in your life. However, I can tell you, putting things back into natural alignment is only beneficial for you from the ground up.
That's right, and you know what I always like to say is, look, if you do suffer from overpronation, you may actually have some aches and pains, and Vionic may well help you with those. But if you just want good supportive footwear that looks really pretty, then this is a great brand to try, and it's amazing. You should be comfortable when you're wearing shoes. You should be comfortable when you're walking.
Of course.
Yeah.
And you know what? Those shoes in the silver, I love the way that color looks. I'm looking at the silver one from a distance. The one you're seeing there is the gold, but both of them, the two of them are just so gorgeous, and they almost are, in a way, gladiator inspired without the heaviness that you usually see with a traditional gladiator style shoe.
That's right, yeah. So it's running up on the foot really, really nicely there. And I love that little mix. We don't really speak too much about that center strap there, how you got that
perforations,
detail,
yeah.
and with all that goring on there. So it's just, your foot's going to be beautifully cradled on top, and it's going to be beautifully cradled underneath because of that podiatrist design technology.
So check it out on QVC.com, a 305-636, if you want to grab the shoe known as the Goldie. It's incredibly comfortable. So we don't have a lot of time to spend on these, but I'm so glad that we can just have a couple of minutes, because I do also have a lot of Vionic shoes in my collection.